For the students in the last row, I invite you to sit a little bit closer. Well, good morning to everyone, and dear students, professors, and community. I am Maria Kwan, the leader of the newest program in St. Thomas University in the creative field, which is Fashion Undergraduate Program. Sometimes we don't know the history of our university, but I want to share with you that St. Thomas University this year celebrates 445 years. It's the most classic university in Colombia, and nowadays is the most disruptive. Sometimes they say, which is our lema or logo, is going forward, going before going very, very forward. So I want to tell you something very interesting about my life. I had the opportunity to study in Istituto Marangoni in Milan and also in London. And for me as a fashion designer, it was life-changing. Today, we have the honor of having Michela Guasco. She is an expert voice from the other part of the world, from Europe, a voice which has been heard in fashion magazines, in very important brands, international brands. And nowadays, she is the director of fashion styling program in Istituto Marangoni, Milan. This is great to have the opportunity to listen to her masterclass, which is about the styling as a cultural curator. And in this masterclass, we will discover how stylists, that is a very important role in the fashion ecosystem, build visual narratives that challenge traditional fashion codes. This is really important because here in St. Thomas University, we have a very interesting approach to fashion in which we have design, we have the research, but also management and communication. And we analyze how fashion is correlated with history, with culture, and with lifestyle. So please give a round of applause to Michela. Welcome. Underline, model, and share all the experience that you will learn here today.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. So, hello, she said enough about myself. I am the program leader of the styling course, but also I've been a stylist for a very, very long time. I work for magazines, I work for brand, for television, for celebrities. So I have not only the academic great point of view, but also the practical one. And should I go closer? Okay, which especially in styling is important because it's a profession that will put together the practical aspect, but also the more theoretical part. So creative and thinking and doing at the same time, which makes for me a very great mix. First, I'd like to talk a little bit about the figure of the stylist, which is not so well known. Do you all know who a stylist is? What a stylist does? Don't be afraid. No, you don't. Okay, great. That's why I'm here, to explain it to you. A stylist is professional figure that most of the time is behind the scenes of fashion, is the person that creates out of garments, creates outfits, and then creates stories. Is the person that organizes and actually executes fashion shoots together with photographers, is behind the scenes in fashion shows, campaigns, fashion film, curates the look of celebrities. So it's a very important figure in fashion. For a long time has been behind the scenes. Now with social media, it became more visible. Not so much, but a little bit more. I tried to make some statements, some from me and some from someone important that wrote them, in order to clarify the figure of the stylist. Stylists are, to me, are visual authors. An author is key, meaning there's a lot of choices. It's not just doing, is doing with a critical eye. Who constructs meaning through clothes. They do not merely assemble outfits. They create narratives, pose question, and stage critique through clothing, casting, and composition. So there's a lot of choices to be made. And here I have a couple of quotes from some important stylists. The stylist is the co-author because the photographer, especially in editorials and campaign, is very important in the process too, of fashion's imaginary, shaping what the world sees, desires, and remembers by Ian Webb. Ian Webb is a stylist and a scholar. Now he teaches at Central San Martins. Then there's another one that I think is very, very clear. The stylist collaborates with a photographer to create an image that reflects a fashion idea and also holds a mirror to the zeitgeist of the moment. The zeitgeist is the spirit of the moment, the contemporaneity. Fashion is sometimes referred to the past, but is very rooted in the present. Something that is great now might be terrifying in a month or a year, or ugly or updated. So we have to live in the present, but know the past. It's a big job, but people done that and we can do it. The figure of the stylist has been for a long time behind the scenes, not known very well. This lady, Diana Vreeland, which if you are studying fashion is a name that you should learn because she has been very, very important. She's been the editor-in-chief of Harper's Bazaar America in the 50s and Vogue, and is the woman that invented the Met Ball many, many years ago. Before her, the stylists did not exist. They were fashion editors. They were going on set with the photographer, helping to dress the models. And it was a pretty basic affair. She and this image can really explain what she was. She was working with the photographer with the critical eye. If you look at the picture, she's really thinking how this is this working? Is this not working? What can I change? How can I make it better? Intervening on set, creating the image with the photographer. And here she is working with Richard Avedon, one of the best of all times. She created some images. They were really the sign of her moments. Dovima with the elephants. By the way, this is the first dress designed by Yves Saint Laurent when he was at Dior. And it's a very new, incredible thing. Fashion before was in the studio. It was just a model standing there with a beautiful dress, maybe a beautiful pose. There might be a vase or a column, but there wasn't a story. She introduced storytelling. And here, the contrast between the elegance, the pose of, and the smoothness in a way of the model and the roughness of the location and the elephant is striking and puts a strong lens on the fashion. The other picture that I chose is Twiggy, several years after in Vogue America, and is a powerful image because speaks about the present. That photograph of that girl was really a mirror in front of fashion of the 60s, where the young generation was protagonist. It's the first moment in history where young people had power to uh, purchase clothes, to be their own self, and they were the protagonist of fashion. Moving after, we go into the 70s. The first stylist was Caroline Baker. Uh, Her job was at Nova Magazine. She was a fashion editor. And what she would do, she would create outfits. Before her, the outfits were made by the designers in the runway, and the stylist will build a story, but there wasn't styling, meaning coordinating clothes, creating a look out of clothes. And in her case, wasn't only the designer clothes. She would also go for high street, for basic thing, creating a young, strong image of the time. Same for both images. A great joie de vivre, a great strength in these images. Then we go to one of my personal heroes, Ray Petrie, uh, the first stylist for independent magazines. He started by chance, wanted to create outfits, but he had no access to the designer clothes. It was the late 70s, beginning of the 80s in London, the days of punk. And what he did, he was creating looks with what we could find: secondhand clothes, things that he would customize and make. He would also change the shape of clothes using safety pins in the back to create the silhouette that he wanted. And his great strength was contamination. He would add elements of sartorial clothes, as you can see, but then ethnic elements, things that are coming from sports, things, for example, a flag that is not a garment, and also challenging many rules of fashion that now are, we will see, are really relevant. For example, gender and race. Most of his models were mixed race of a specific neighborhood in London. And then we have the oldest stylist that is still working, Grace Cardington. If any of you have seen the September issue, you've seen the September issue? Okay. It's a great movie. It's a lot of, I think, is entertaining and at the same time is educating. Grace Cardington is the unsung hero there. She wasn't supposed to be the protagonist, but she came out as the protagonist because her I can say her love of her job and her relevance were really coming through. Her creative vision was clashing often with the one of Anna Wintour, editor-in-chief, because she wanted to do more and more. She added magic and dream and fairy tale to fashion. An example is the middle picture when she did this iconic editorial with Annie Leibovitz, very important photographer that has photographed all the celebrities in the world. She did a story about Alice in Wonderland, where Natalia Vodianova, the model, is Alice. But all the characters are the most important designers in the world. Here we see John Galliano playing the Queen of Heart. Then we had Jean-Paul Gaultier being the cat. Karl Lagerfeld, who was Karl Lagerfeld? But he was there. Marc Jacobs, the caterpillar. And think of the incredible creative effort to have these people posing. These are very, very important people. So she made it work, and it looked fantastic. The clothes of Alice were all blue, baby blue. So they were clothes from the collection, but they were specially made for that story. That element of fairy tale and dream made Vogue in her ears really special. They were lucky, they had a lot of budget, they could do these things, but they stayed in the history of fashion. So you see that the stylist is not only helping the model getting dressed and steaming the wrinkles, but has a lot to say. Now, the figure of the stylist became more and more important. Is close to the one of a creative director, decides the stories, and most than anything, a very important thing is like making choices and critical decisions. Out of the same concept, group of photograph with a group of people, different races, see what you can do. Grace Coddington created a barbecue party of inclusive family, while Ib Kamara made a strong statement on take a COVID shot in the cover of ID, creating that type of image. So with styling, you're not only creating beautiful images that are fun, that are a dream, that are nice to look at, but also you can put a lens on important issues of the present, and in a way, luckily, you can also change the future. Here, I want to show you some work of important stylists that has worked as visual journalists, meaning that they created stories that were beautiful, they were glamorous, they were fashion, but at the same time, they were saying something very important, something that some issues that needed to be addressed. This is a lot of this comes from Italian Vogue. I don't want to seem Eurocentric or Italy-centric, but Italian Vogue for 23 years has been one of the most important publication in the world, because the editor-in-chief, the late Franca Sozzani, they gave such a strong support and freedom to the creative she was working with, they could do their best job. She would give them 30, 40 pages, a cover story, a budget, and go and do it. Of course, she had also an incredible eye on choosing the best possible talents. And one of them is Steven Meisel. Steven Meisel is probably the best fashion photographer in the world. I'm stressing and underline fashion a lot, because all he does is fashion. It doesn't do documentary, it doesn't do portrait. What he does is fashion, but fashion in the best possible way. This is a first, and a very important issue is the Black issue. For this one, they only photograph models of color by a stylist of color, which I think is important. So there's not cultural appropriation here. And it's been the best-selling issue ever. Has been reprinted 14 times worldwide. And that means that there was need for that. Black models have been photographed before in many stories. Naomi Campbell has been one of the most important models and in the world for many years. But here they were the protagonists. Here they were making the big change. And from that, there was a very important switch. All the agencies were signing in Black models, much more than before. And we have now, since then, it was 2008, already two generations of very strong Black models that are ruling the market. Things that are happening. This is another seminal story shot again by Steven Meisel with Carl Templars, this one. And this is related to environmental issues. As oil leak in the Gulf of Mexico polluted the ocean badly. The news was showing many images of fishes dead or birds covered with oil. And no one was really paying attention. So fashion wanted to do its own little part, creating this story with Kristen McNamee, looking like I would say a mermaid covered with clothes that look like oil, like she has been in the oil leak. Again, very, very strong message. As you know, many, many people are changing their faces. They undergo uh, plastic surgery. They're not happy with their appearance. They're not appreciating themselves. Vogue wanted to put a lens on that and do a whole story on. It was called Makeover Madness. So it was all about models going under the knife, changing their face, being bandages. But at the same time, the images are beautiful, the clothes are beautiful, the model looks great. So you can say things keeping the aesthetic level high. Other issue, mental health and addiction. Especially in the world of fashion, there's a lot of this. It's a world with a strong pressure that feels like entertainment, but at the same time, you have to deliver, so you need a strong self. Many models had to go to rehab for problems of eating disorders, addiction, not being healthy. So Vogue wanted to point out that uh, mental health and health in general should come first. So the model agency shouldn't be so tough on asking the model to be that skinny, not to take drugs to get skinny, but be healthy. Otherwise, you end up going into rehab. And at the same time, the images were beautiful. There were visual references to movies. It was, how can I say? It was also a call to action to the business. Again, the environment. We produce too much. There are too much clothes around. We buy, it's the consumeristic world is making the earth pay a strong toll. Most of the clothes that we buy, we don't need. No one buys something because he need it. We buy because out of desire, out of wanting to have something. And in this story, Lucinda Chambers, great stylist that's been British Vogue for a long time, wanted to point that you can create a great image and dress well without buying. These, all the clothes that have been used for this story, and the story is beautiful, are from garbage, are from dumpsters. So buy less or recycle. If you buy fast fashion, the quality is so low that it's impossible to recycle. So think before buying, buy, but don't buy what you need, or just buy stuff that lasts longer. Same here, a different stylist seen this issue in a different way. Instead of photographing the garments, she create extreme garments with pieces, with things that we had already. So a lot of shirts, a lot of jackets, creating these almost couture looks. The visibility of the people of the business. Behind each fashion story, behind each fashion show, each fashion brand, you need a village, as they say. And most of these people have no recognition. They're not known everywhere. Nobody knows the name of the essential behind the scenes video maker for a story, or the makeup artist, or the light technician. So Gabriella Carefa Johnson wanted to do that, and she did a long story for American Vogue, just using, instead of models, the people in the biz. All of them with a name and a look. Gabriella Carefa Johnson is also an important stylist to keep an eye on. She is a woman of color. The first one that's ever styled a cover of American Vogue, and that cover was with Kamala Harris. Didn't look that great. I think there was a problem with the fit of the pants, but that's not important. The important thing is that she was there, and she is not only a woman of color, she is not sample size. Usually, stylists are thin, white, blonde, rich American girls, or where. She is not. And she also confronted Kanye West. And there was a big fight on social media. Kanye West, in his Easy Show, had a baseball hat saying, White Life Matters. And that was considered very, very wrong because of course, every life matter, but Black Life Matter means something. And it was a racist, bad thing. So Gabriella just wrote on social media, I disagree. And he said something on, of course, this is all public on social media. It's not gossip. It's like out there is news. Shut up, you big fat something. Um, That costed him a lot because he got canceled from his contract from Adidas, Balenciaga. They all got canceled. But she decided that her work was more important elsewhere, and she resigned from Vogue because, of course, if you work for Vogue, you represent the magazine, and there are boundaries. She didn't want boundaries, and now she's being extremely vocal, and she's being an activist. So it's a very, very important woman, and I think she won because that thing. Kanye West was very rude to her. You don't discriminate about size. Uh, then the heritage and the race. Very important issue. This work by Carlos Nazario, that is a New York-based stylist. He comes from Dominican Republic, I think. He had done, this is the catalog, let's say the catalog, the book for the Met exhibition about the Black Dandy. And you can see that in his work, not only he portrays, of course, models of color, because this is the theme, but also give them a strong dignity and relevance. Is not only that the models are Black, there are reference to the African diaspora, the reference to look in the past, and they are extremely regal. They're extremely dignified. Same with the work of a very, very important stylist, Ib Kamara, that made really a change in the business. And I'm really, really proud to say that the Istituto Marangoni Milano, we're collaborating with him. He's the mentor for third year students. We'll see him next Friday for the mid-review. And by the way, he is adorable, although he's very powerful. He was the fashion that, no, actually the editor-in-chief of ID magazine, then of Dazed. Now he resigned, so I guess he has something big in his pocket. Probably he's going to open his own magazine, and also is the creative director of Off-White. Virgil Abloh left him when he got sick, said, Ib can take my space. And Ib, since his first work at Central St. Martin as a graduation project, has worked with using several important issues that are race. He comes from Sierra Leone and he's of color. Gender, and also sustainability. He has used many recycled clothes, work with water bottles or, I don't know, plastic bags. But mostly his focus is on the style of the people of his heritage. There's always in his styling, mostly is people of color, but there's elements of African heritage, but at the same time, something very futuristic. But his characters always look like kings and queens. They have power, they have strength and importance. Uh, same type of work is done Imru Aisha from he's a stylist from the Caribbean. You can see the way he works with colors, the way he works with composition with the important photographer that is Vivian Sasson, that's also an artist, is used to that light of bright, clean sun and can really mix the color and the vibe and the strength of his countries. Then we go into gender, another very important issue that the fashion industry, but not only the world at large, is facing right now. This work of Alistair McKean from ID is all shot on transgender model, which is a very important issue right now because many countries are dead naming trans people and they going to use the previous gender on their documents. So fashion can do that little thing to give visibility, give relevance, and explain that there's nothing wrong on being trans. There's not only trans people, though, the people that are not, whose gender is not binary. And this is definitely portrayed in this story. You don't know what gender these models belong to. Does it matter? I don't think so. Great style, they look good. Okay, they do what they want. Same here. Here, there's also another element, not only of gender, and well, I think the styling is beautiful. The images are just stunning in their beauty. There's also uh, this an element of going to remind an important subculture, which is the ball culture of the houses in Harlem that has been really a moment that has driven the Black gay community out of the AIDS pandemic, out of very, very sad moment. And gender can be attached also with celebrity. This is the first cover with a male on American Vogue, that is a magazine for women, and but he's wearing women's clothes. And actually, after this, he has always challenged the perception of his gender and sexuality. And I think Harry Styles look great in this, and it's more interesting as that than a basic, I don't know, young pop star. Then other important issue, especially in the world of fashion, is body positivity. Fashion expects model to be size 36. When I started in the 80s, it was 42. So now the samples are like this. So leaves a huge demographic out of the picture, which is not right. This story in, again, Vogue Italia was putting the spot on models. They're not sample size. They are as beautiful as the girls that are skinny, but they're not because we don't want to be conformed. Everyone has his or her own body. So a whole issue with models that are considered, they say curvy, they say plus size, they use like different kind of nice ways to say it. And they are celebrated and glamorous as skinny girls, not in frumpy clothes, but showing what they've got. And they have these big or bigger than normal, but amazing bodies. Same story here. And actually, I have to say that from this one, in this moment, the important model agencies, the one that have the tops, like mostly Next, started a curvy division because they started to have more, let's say, requests. And now on the runway, they are these girls like Precious, which is a size, I don't know, but she's a, as you can tell, is a big size. But she's not portrayed as a, pardon my English, fat girl, but a beautiful, curvy woman. Age. No, eight models have an expired a ticket that says you expire at 23 or 25. Someone older than that is considered out of the picture. Some stylists, especially, and some photographers that work now are working with models that are older. Life doesn't end at 23. So we have, for example, Kirsten McGramany, that is a top model. She has done everything. She is 60 years old. She's proud white hair. And she's keeping herself in shape, but she has her age and she doesn't want to look at 1 minute younger. Then there's also another element that I think is interesting is how to see things in a different way, changing the norm of the fashion idea, meaning that the styling can also challenge new aesthetic, showing the looks of places that are different. For example, this stylist, Lokta Volkova, that comes from Russia. Actually, she comes from Siberia. She brought a new post-Soviet aesthetic to the world of fashion. She's been important, for example, because she's been the first stylist for Vetements and Balenciaga. And you see her styling is a little bit disturbing in a way. It's mixing and matching, strange silhouettes, clashing of colors, elements that are disruptive, like that painted face. This is her. She's been photographed in front of a grave in the Milan cemetery. She's now the stylist of Miu Miu. And she has brought really a breath of fresh air in Miu Miu, making it more young, more disruptive in a way. And another stylist that is challenging the normal look that I think is extremely interesting is Panos Yapanis. Panos has been working for a long time. He's the favorite stylist, for example, of Rick Owens. And the way he styles is very mixed. He adds couture pieces, important clothes with things that he finds on young designer. He makes things, he creates looks in a very different way, a creativity that has no boundaries. For example, that yellow dress, that it's a Gucci dress, is not worn by the model. It's just put in front of her and then secured with belts, giving a silhouette that did not exist before. In the last photo, that is a little bit dark because it's the style, he has made a lot of pieces of jewelry with safety pins, with like an accent to the world of punk, making special accessories that no one else does. And the couture is always very exclusive. And what's more exclusive than making things especially for one picture that no one else has? So challenging really the rules of fashion. And I want to finish with a just food for thought. Uh, Styling and magazines are not relevant only for the people that are interested in fashion, which are not many, honestly. People buy clothes, but they know nothing about it. And I have to say, unfortunately, then the publishing world is suffering right now. Not your generation here doesn't buy fashion magazine. Do you buy magazines? Be honest. You do. You don't count. You're not of this generation. You're too old. Shut up. You do buy fashion magazine. Be honest. You too. You don't count. You guys scroll it on social media, which is a way, but it's not enough because you see a portion of the information that you can have. But although this generation that needs stronger stimuli, something faster than going through a magazine, has social media. Also, other question: do you guys go to the movies? A little more. Yeah, most of you are not the target again. Yeah, because you need something faster. If you go to the movies, probably you have your phone in your hands. You're missing a lot. but hey, it's your loss. But you see social media. But when the work is relevant and when the work is important, it goes through anyways. This cover of Vogue, shot by Ib Kamara, has been seen by many, many people because Ib Kamara has 350,000 followers. And see how many reposts, how many comments, and how many likes. So maybe a few of them also were so interested and went to buy the magazine. I hope so. But they're coming back because it's getting boring to just scroll. It does really bad things to your brains, scrolling all the time. Yeah, I was reading something in the New York Times. So, it still has very important relevance if done right. So, this is what I wanted to share with you, and I hope it was interesting. And I also hope that you have questions for me. And don't be shy because there's not a wrong questions. There's wrong answers sometimes, but questions are never wrong. Yes. Okay, yeah, very good question. Okay, first of all, the thing that you have to use always is honesty. Always be honest. And think the people that are better at certain issues are the ones that are entitled. So, talking about race, I cannot put myself in the position of a black man because I'm a white woman. I can try to give them a voice in the most respectful way, but it's not enough. Uh, for example, for styling and also for fashion designs, in the past we have used many artisanal, many ethnic artifacts. Now it is considered completely wrong, completely, oh my God, cancel you. Well, it depends on how it is done. And there are certain things that are not to be used ever, which is, for example, religious elements, if the community doesn't agree with that, and never demean the culture you are quoting. You can have definitely cultural appreciation instead of appropriation. It's a fine line, but I think it's really important because there are things that people want to see because they are beautiful. We should maybe let the people that are owner of that culture speak for that. Did I answer or there would? Yeah, okay, good. Anybody else? That is complicated because, yeah, no, it's practical. First of all, most of European fashion, unfortunately, is owned by huge corporation, enormous corporation that have power. I mean, Kering and LVMH have so much power. They bind so many pages. They have billboards. They have store everywhere. And also the clothes are available. Easy. If I want to photograph a look for Louis Vuitton, I just call the PR and I get it in half hour. If I want to photograph a Colombian designer, how long it takes to DHL it to Milano, and how am I exposed to it? How do I know? Doing research is good, but it's not enough. I think from Latin America, there should be a way of communicating into Europe and into the US, where most of the publications are edited, but also working with local magazines that if they have a strong look, I mean, strong aesthetic and strong content can be shipped to Europe and give, Latin American designers this recognition. It's a communication problem because we're not exposed. I don't want to be Euro or American centric, but I don't know about Colombian designers because I don't know where to find them, or stylists, because we do not receive the magazines. So it's a problem of the world is big and small at the same time, but they will need of more communication, I think. So I think, what you're doing here is very, very important because expanding is the thing. For example, at Marangoni, we support one Indian designer that is an alumno that is doing the show in Milano. He's from India, produces in India, comes twice a year to do the show. It's a small show, but it gets visibility because, of course, the 4 big fashion weeks has much more visibility than anything else because there's more, basically. Yes. I don't know why there's one. Go back and see. I think it's one, or I lost one very important slide. The beginning. Okay. I think this quote is my life. It's by Italo Calvino. I don't know if you know about Italo Calvino, was a very important Italian writer, was writing essays, but also fiction. And he said in 1988, most of you, well, all of you weren't born, and probably your parents didn't even know each other, okay? We live under a continuous rain of images. The most powerful media do nothing but transform the world into images and multiply through a phantasmagoria of mirror games. Images that are largely devoid of the internal necessity that should characterize every image as form and meaning, as a force to impose itself on attention, as a wealth of possible meaning. So we produce a lot of, may I be honest, crap. Most of the picture that we do is they're useless because they don't have the aesthetic power or they don't have the meaning. So I think, and social media did not exist. Internet did not exist. This was also only about magazine and TV. Think about it. So what poor Calvino that died before all this would think. But I agree with him. I think is really important. Yes, there are too many images, and AI is making it become very easy to produce images, and some of them are not relevant. I think that AI is a tool. You can use it to do the things that you need to do, renderings, for example, and also images that wouldn't be possible to be produced in real life. I have in my course, third year, there is a course on AI. They use Midjourney mostly, and they have to create a campaign, the impossible campaign, something that wouldn't be doable in real life because people flying or on the moon. That makes sense. But to do, for example, a catalog with AI instead of giving work to people that will collaborate and will talk and will create something special, I don't know. AI don't give you that magic, unexpected moment of that incredible picture. It's too planned for me now. We see because it's evolving from a year when we started the course last September, September 23. Oh my God. Hands were like sausages. Yeah, yeah. It is. It is, but think I wish I had time to show you the first work of Camara shot in Sierra Leone. I mean, it was him, models from the street, clothes from the garbage bins, and one photographer with an iPhone, and they're amazing. So I think, actually, the the less you have, the more creative you can be. But hey, we have to live with AI. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Michela, thank you so much for this amazing master class. I think most of us were like, oh my God. I know we have many questions and also you open our minds to different things. Thank you so much. For all of you that went in presence, thank you so much. I know there is not only fashion students and design, but also students from other programs. And I hope you have learned a lot because fashion is intimately related with culture and with lifestyle. And before you go, please register in the QR that we will share in the screen and also in the papers. We also want to thank Gloria Ramirez. She is one of the managers that help students in Colombia to study in fashion institutions in Europe. So in this QR, where if you want, we can share this information with Gloria's team. And in the future, you can access to different courses, short courses, summer courses, on even scholarships abroad. So thank you so much to everyone. And well, remember to follow us on Instagram, Santoto underline moda. Thank you and bye-bye. And just if we can join everyone for a picture, please. We will put the picture in this side like a soccer team here, like woo. Listo, chicos, entonces todos, porfa, vengan hacia este lado, nos vamos a tomar la foto aquí como equipo de fútbol porque somos muchos, porque allá la luz nos quedaría rara. Entonces, acerquemos aquí. Nosotros acá atrás, ¿no? Aquí, aquí. Ah, y ellos alrededor. ¿Quieres más? Siempre te podemos ir a Instituto Marangoni. Sí, Instituto Marangoni.